Hi guys, welcome back to As We Speak. So today we're going to talk about our kids and their devices. The day that we gave my son a phone, I feel, is effectively the day that we said goodbye to his childhood. As adults, we have our own love-hate relationships with our devices and technology. But when it comes to our kids, all we really want to do is protect them. And we really wish there was more that we could do to retain their focus, retain their innocence as much as possible. But the problem here is that we're the digital dinosaurs and our kids are the digital natives who know about every app before we do, and usually they're one step ahead all the time. So what can we do to be more responsible parents in this digital age? I'd like to welcome to this conversation Barry Lee Cummings, the founder of the Beat the Cyberbully organization here in the UAE. Thank you for joining me, Barry. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
Thanks. We're at a point where our kids have access to technology almost as soon as they're born, and then this access steadily grows as they grow.
Yep.
So what are the main roles and responsibilities that we have as parents raising kids in this digital age?
Mum and dad still form the best filter for our children. Unfortunately, what we've come to in terms of the time is that mum and dad don't have the knowledge to be that filter.
Exactly.
As you said, that our children are digital natives. They get the technology very quickly, but the bit they don't get is the implications of their actions. So they understand how to use Snapchat, Instagram, etc. very quickly. As soon as a new app comes out, they find out about it, they download it. Before you know it, it's gone around the entire school. They've been using it for a couple of months, and then suddenly we as parents go, hey, what's that? And they've been on it for a little bit of time. They don't appreciate what they've been doing on there sometimes, and that's where mum and dad come into the picture to bring experience in terms of life, to try and explain to them what's actually happening. But what that means for mum and dad is that we have to upgrade ourselves. We didn't grow up with this. We grew up without the technology. Some of us, it was maybe just coming into our lives at university level, but we didn't have a childhood with it. And so it's very difficult for us to be able to reference anything that they relate to. Mum and dad, we have to become more relevant to our children, which means having conversations with them on their level, which means even if we have no interest in online gaming, we're not that keen on social media or Instagram and different ones, we have to get involved to understand how these platforms operate and work, so that we can then have those conversations with our children. And I feel it's our utmost responsibility. The responsibility of a parent is to protect their children and make sure that they're happy. And unfortunately, we see so many scenarios where our children are just not happy. And as such, I would say it's probably one of the hardest times for children, as children, to be children, and for mum and dad to try and help them on that journey. And in some cases, things get blown out of proportion a little bit, and there's definitely a fear society when it comes to the online, because we don't know enough about it. So as soon as we see something negative, that information is shared very quickly through the WhatsApp groups, the parent Facebook groups, the community groups that we live in, and then it becomes a viral sensation of, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? And that actually adds fuel to the fire, but doesn't necessarily address the problem, which is, in some cases, and we can reference the latest the Momo challenge that went around. That actually blew out of control because of parents sharing it so much that it went viral very quickly. It's been around since 2016, but died a death, and people weren't talking about it. And at the beginning of this year, suddenly, it's the suicide game that's out there causing problems. But if we dig a bit deeper, and it's now come out that it's been proven to be a hoax, we started to realize that there weren't examples of this so-called game popping up, but there was a lot of talk about it. And then once there was a lot of talk about it, then we started to see examples of these so-called videos. But then the likes of YouTube and other applications and platforms were saying, we can't find any examples of this, until a date after everybody started talking about it. And so that's how quickly things can change. And that's part of the issue, if you like, is as the technology changes, the platform changes, the latest trend comes out, sometimes by the time mum and dad have got their head around it, it's past and it's too late. Realistically, the only thing we can do is to increase our levels of education and awareness around the subject. which means a lot of digging, a lot of reading, a lot of researching, but making sure that we're getting information from the right areas. Because again, you can go onto this wonderful wide web, type something in, and you'll get all manner of things supporting your argument, disagreeing with your argument, telling you to do one thing, telling you to do something completely different. It can be very, very confusing.
I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I hope it's answered some of the questions that you've been wanting to ask. And if there's anything more that you want to talk about, please do comment below. Please like this episode, please subscribe, and please share it with your friends and family. Next week, we're going to discuss healthy screen time habits. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week. Bye!